Hey everyone, Jessica Coulter here, and today I want to talk to you about more grammar. I know we talked about grammar yesterday in my other video, or maybe it was a couple days ago, but wanted to bring a couple mistakes to your attention that I know a lot of you make, whether you realize you do or not. So I want to get your thoughts here, guys, before we get going. This is another one of my friends, and just see how many of you think you make mistakes. You know, if you know that you're not perfect at your grammar, whether it's speaking or writing, or you know there's something you always question, oh, am I supposed to do this? Am I supposed to do that? Let me know this message is relevant to you. Just tap that like or heart button for me. So before we get into it, I want to introduce myself in case you just kind of stumbled on this video. My name is Jessica Coulter, and I'm the CEO and founder of Ace Cookie Tutoring. I help students with their papers and proofreading, so that is one of my specialties. I also love helping students study for the ACT, especially the English and reading sections. And outside of the grammar, kind of English writing world, I love helping with middle school math. So let's jump into it, guys. So I just picked kind of 3 things that I know I sometimes mess up on if I'm not thinking or not being careful. And I know these are things I've heard lots of people say and then seeing lots of things written incorrectly. So the first kind of combo here, the first boo-boo I always see, or is very common to see, is was versus were. So was is singular, were is plural. Now they're both past tense. So here's the big question. When do you use was? When do you use were? So I've got a couple sentences for you. Can't promise they're the best sentences ever, but they do get the point across. So, first one. I was going to the store. So I, singular, so I use was. Hopefully, if you say I were going to the store, that sounds wrong to you. So if you were to hear somebody say that, you'd go, oh, well, that's not correct. Or if you saw it written, hopefully you'd catch that. Unfortunately, the one I see messed up more often is the were. So we were going to the store. So that's correct because were, plural, we, plural. Well, I've heard a lot, even from my own family, some grandparents that are from different parts of the United States. You know, it's a cultural thing sometimes, also just part of your lingo, you know, different parts of, I can't think of that word right now, but dialect, essentially. So we was going to the store would be wrong. We were going to the store is correct. So guys, that's the first pair that I wanted to make sure we talked about. Was versus were. So if you need some more help with grammar, you know, if that's something you know you've done before, would love to help. I have all sorts of videos like this, as well as pre-recorded videos and all sorts of resources available in my group to help you get better at your grammar and your writing. So go to the link in the description to join the group. It's facebook.com/groups/A's for students. So Red Dog is this guy's name, and he wants to tell us about the second one. And this one's a little more complicated, so I probably should have things up on the screen, so I'll do my best to be as clear as possible for you guys. So we have him and her. We also have he and she, and then we have they. So a lot of times people mix up and use they when they really should be using he or she or him or her. So this comes down to singular versus plural. Okay, they're all pronouns, but if you're a singular in the sentence, you've got to stay singular. Or if you're being plural, you know, if something is already plural, the noun in the sentence that the pronoun is going to refer to is plural, and then you've got to use they. So here we go. First sentence, again, you know, did these kind of quickly, so hopefully I get my point across, is could they come for a visit? So makes sense, right? Could they come for a visit? And then if we plugged in he or she, that would make sense too. Could he come for a visit? Could she? And hopefully we all know, could him come for a visit, or could her? I mean, those don't make sense. So on this one, they is fine, he or she is fine, but you would not use him or her. Okay. Now when things get a little messier with the they and the him and the her, the he, she, it comes down to knowing who the pronoun is referring to. because that's the thing about pronouns, is they always refer to the previous noun in the sentence. Okay? So here's my story or my sentence that is correct. Or is it not? Let's find out. I knew a story about him, so did Stacy, but they don't know the truth. So we had him and then we had they. So I knew a story about him, so that's correct. So did Stacy. So far so good. But they don't know the truth. Well, if I was to read this in someone's paper, or if I heard it said out loud, I would immediately go, well, who is they? Because we have Stacy, but she's not a they. There's only one Stacy. It doesn't say the Stacys. So they would not be correct. It would need to be she. And hopefully you notice if I change they to she, then I need to change more of the sentence. So that's part of the reason it's so important to know he or they, she or they, him or her. You know, it's so important because it affects the rest of the sentence. So if you make one little mistake, then a lot more of the sentence is going to be incorrect. So what do you guys think? Is this helping? If it is, awesome. That's what I'm going for. Just tap that like or heart button for me. If you want to see Red Dog in more of my videos instead of Stormy or my bunny, make sure you drop that in the comments for me below. So let's talk about one last mistake I see a lot, and that is me versus I. Okay? Now these are both singular and they're both pronouns again, but you got to know when to use I, and you got to know when to use me. So the first sentence here, pretty simple. I think most people would not mess this up. And I like to sing. Well, that makes perfect sense. But if I say me like to sing, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of think caveman. So hopefully we could all handle, if we had a sentence to fill in and it was blank like to sing, we hopefully would all know I like to sing instead of me like to sing. So final thing here with me versus I, this is when things get a little more complicated for students. So this happens a lot in high school, middle school, and then I believe I've seen it on the ACT lots of times. So here we go. We have Joe and I talked versus Joe and me talked. Well, I mean, neither one sounds wrong. I mean, to me it kind of does if I already do my kind of checking as I listen. So the way I tell people when they're trying to decide, see how I did that? I said people, so it's plural, so they. So anyway, what I try to tell people when they're trying to decide, do I put an I or a me when it's someone and I, someone and me, is I always drop the other people or the other person in this case. So if I just said I talked, that makes sense. If I say me talked, that doesn't make sense. So that is how to decide I or me when there are multiple people, multiple things in a sentence and you're trying to decide which one to use. So those are the three kind of grammar rules I wanted to bring to your attention. The was versus were, the him, her, he, she versus they, and then me versus I. So if you guys jumped on the video towards the end, would highly encourage you to go back and catch the rest of the video so you can write some great sentences and speak correctly as often as much as you want. So I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. If you have not joined my group yet, do so. The link's in the description. So if you need some more help with your grammar, getting better at writing and speaking it, join my group so you'll get the help you need and you'll write better essays and sound smarter when you speak. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.